What's up, everybody, and welcome back to A Beer a Day with TK. It's Friday evening here in Findlay, Ohio, and Anderson took a ride out from Cleveland to drink some beers. What's going on, Anderson?
Oh, just another Friday night, ready to do this, get some beers in.
That's right, let's do it. The beer that we have today is one that was sent to us a while back from Pete. Pete's a guy I grew up with, went to school with, lives in southeastern Pennsylvania in the Philly area. Every once in a while he sends me out some beers. This is one he sent out a while ago, and I kind of been waiting on it. Russian River is probably one of the best breweries in America, if not the world. And I have two of these really good Russian River beers, but I didn't want to drink them myself. I thought it seemed selfish and a waste, so I saved them for the Ginger Yeti, so we'll share it today.
I appreciate that, thank you.
And thanks, Pete, for sending this out. Greatly appreciate it, dude. I really don't see a whole lot of Russian River stuff out here. I don't know. Do you see any out in Cleveland?
No, I never see it out in Cleveland.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say. I think I've had one of their beers maybe ever. I'm not even sure where I got it, but you really don't see them too frequently. So I was super hyped to get this one. So this here is a Pilsner Aged in Sauvignon Blanc Barrels with Sauvignon Blanc grapes. It's called Intinction, and Intinction, if you're unaware, is the word for basically if you go to a mass, when they stick the Eucharist into the wine, I guess the combination of those two things is called the intinction. I did not know that, but Wikipedia hooked me up with that answer. And I guess it kind of makes sense, because if you think about it, beer is essentially bread, right? And if it's in these white wine casks, you have the grape bit. So I kind of get the reference there. Now, I wouldn't have if it wasn't for
Wikipedia?
For Wikipedia, right. And I went to Catholic school for 12 years, and I never heard this word, intinction. Although, to be fair, the church I went to, they never let you have the wine, just the stale Eucharist thing, which was difficult to eat as a young kid. Very dry, but you didn't have the wine bit of it. So, I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I'd probably catch on fire if I walked into church, so I've definitely never heard this word.
Probably. So this is pretty, again, pretty cool beer. We got some words here on the side, but a bit of a blurb. Intinction is a Pilsner aged in Sauvignon Blanc barrels with Brettanomyces and fresh Sauvignon Blanc grapes. The finished beer is refreshingly balanced with delicate notes of tart lemon and a slight earthiness from the Brett. This beer is re-fermented in the bottle, creating a natural carbonation and a small layer of yeast sediment. So, let's see what's going on here, man. You ready?
Hopefully you get all the yeast sediment.
Listen, after I had that Christmas keg the other day. I thought it was good when I drank it. The evening I drank it, tasted fine. The next day, no, man, it destroyed me. And then I had the pumpkin beer, and when I poured it, it was just all floaters in there. And then my stomach is like, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing? So now we have more yeast sediment for 3 days in a row.
Are you trying to give yourself auto brewery syndrome?
Yeah, exactly, right? I learned about that today. Auto brewery syndrome, if you're unfamiliar, is when your body produces, I guess, alcohol, and if you were to get pulled over by the cops and they test your blood, it shows up as though your ABV is over the limit, even though you haven't been drinking. So we were talking about DUIs, a case called, I think it's Michigan versus Sitz in class today, about DUI checkpoints, and somebody brought that up, and I was like, I've never heard of that. And someone forwarded me the case, so sure enough, it happened.
It's pretty rare.
Pretty sweet cage here, the Russian River. Let's hope we get this off without losing all the beer.
So I do have to say I'm not a fan of wine in general. I suppose white wine would be preferable to red wine. I don't know that I know enough about wine to have Sauvignon Blanc, but this will be interesting to see what it tastes like.
Look, it tells you this should be in a fluted glass, not a pint glass. So these are kind of like...
We're halfway there.
These are the Columbus Winter Beer Fest glasses. So
is this from the beer fest that you bidded at?
Yeah, I fell at the beer fest. I slipped because there was so much spilled beer. But when I fell, I did manage to keep the glass up like this and landed on my back and hurt myself, but I did not spill my beer, which was met with applause and cheers from the crowd that laughed at me. It's not cool. All right, ready?
Yes, I am ready. A lot of carbonation.
Yeah, super carbonated.
But not much of a head.
Really light color. At least I pour it more vigorously.
I suppose it should be kind of like a champagne or...
Honestly, you pick up that white wine smell, man.
Immediately.
Yeah. Which I'm also not a huge wine guy. I think we talked about casks before. I think dark beers and stuff in bourbon casks is an awesome pairing. Wine casks I'm generally not a huge fan of, so I'm not sure what to make of this one. Intinction, you have this nice on the front there.
This is definitely carbonated like a champagne.
Yeah. Color, It's kind of like a light straw color, crazy carbonation in there.
Again, like a champagne.
Yeah, head almost non-existent. Smells like white wine, dude. What do you think?
I know it's going to be douchey, but I do kind of have like the oak notes in the smell and the nose. I can smell.
Douchey's right up your alley. That's all right.
Some oaky.
Yeah, you pick up a bit of the oak. It smells
as
like...
I'm getting bombarded with the carbonation, like splashing in your face.
The bubbles are hitting your nose when you do it. Yeah, you pick up a bit of the cask. It smells like white wine and oak, essentially, I guess.
This is going to turn into Belch City when you take a sip of it.
Oh, I know that. It's going to be rough. Well, before we get in, 8.25 ABV. Ratings, I got a 4.18 on Untapped, 4.25 on Beer Advocate, so solid ratings there. As far as the aggregate, I got a 93 outstanding on Beer Advocate. So, Sláinte, let's see how this is. Pinky out.
That's exactly what I expected it to taste like.
It's funky and sour. And pick up the oak.
Pick up the oak.
Yeah.
I mean, after smelling it, it's exactly what I expected it to taste like. It almost tastes like it smells. I was a little worried by the description being Sauvignon Blanc Barrels.
Yeah.
As I'm not a wine connoisseur.
That it was going to be overwhelmingly wine flavor. Yeah, it's really not.
But I guess red wines have more of that
the tannin
kind of flavor that I suppose I dislike, as opposed to white wines aren't.
Let me ask you this:
bad.
do you think this tastes like a Pilsner?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I think it's like a funky farmhouse or something. And this is the weird look. This is the leaning tower glass too.
I would never call this a Pilsner.
Yeah, I mean, it tastes like a farmhouse that's been like oak aged. I've had a couple beers like this recently, where I don't know that the style, but doesn't taste like what they say it does. But the beer is still pretty damn good.
However,
yeah,
isn't there only two styles, Pilsner or Lager?
If what do you get into all the old school science of this stuff here? I suppose.
But I mean,
well, I mean, it's not a lager.
It's not a lager, so it's got to be a Pilsner.
Yeah, I guess. Overall, I think it's a decent tasting beer. I was probably a bit worried too when I saw the white wine cast. I thought, oh, this will be weird. But overall, I think it's a decent beer. I mean, I quite like it.
We were also talking about this before we started, and we were worried that this would be a beer that neither one of us liked, and it's kind of a shame to get a good beer shipped to you from a buddy and then not like it.
But luckily, that's not the case.
Pleasantly surprised by it.
Yeah. Ratings-wise, obviously, it's got to be on point with what it's supposed to be. Most people are digging this, obviously. The only thing I get worried about when you deal with breweries like this, I almost think sometimes people are afraid to say, like, if you don't like it or it's not as good as you thought it was, because they don't want to be seen as the person who doesn't like Russian River or doesn't like, Three Floyds or one of the kind of big boy breweries. But this is on point. Again, I think it's probably maybe the second beer I've ever had from them, and I like this, and it's probably a style I generally wouldn't. So for that reason, I think I'd probably give it a big thumbs up. I would have another one. What about you?
I would absolutely give this a big thumbs up. I would have another one, and I would have to say that this is one of those beers that would probably be pretty approachable for those people out there that generally don't like beers but are into wine.
Yeah.
This would be a good transition beer for those kind of people.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it does have some wine qualities to it, obviously. I mean, and it says it's got the grapes in it and all that stuff. So it does have a little bit of a wine taste. If you look at it, it's kind of like medium bodied. It's a little more carbonation, I guess, or whatever, like maybe you'd have in a white wine or something like that. So overall, I mean, this is a good beer. Pete, big thanks for sending this out to us. Greatly appreciate it, my friend. Sorry it took so long to get to it. We still have another Russian River he sent us, but again, these beers are usually really highly rated, so I want to sit on them so we can actually do a good review. Don't want to drink it after you've had 5 or 6 other beers and kind of ruins the experience.
And as they're already aged, it doesn't matter if you wait a couple months longer to drink it. Yeah,
and this one here, I mean, the date on this is 3/26/19. So it's not super old or anything, but it's been.
It was aged for how many years in the barrels?
Well, I think it says 8 to 10 months. So
8 to 10 months.
Yeah, so
years,
8 to 10 months
same
into
thing.
8 to 10 years. A fine scotch, my friend. It's a good beer. If you can find this, check it out. If you liked the video, please hit that thumbs up. Give us a like. If you want to see more videos like this, please hit subscribe. We're slowly growing the channel. I appreciate everybody who takes the time to hit subscribe. And as always, if you have any comments or questions, jump in down below. If you've had any of the other Russian river beers, if you've had this Intinction, let me know what you think of it. Hey, until next time, cheers.